All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. I am very, very honored to have this man on my platform. I'm just going to say a couple of words that I think best describes him. Man, testimonial, inspirational, the truth. And he is someone I feel like we all can learn from. Please, all the way from Dallas, Texas, put your hands together for Mr. Micheal Phillips.
Oh man, what an intro, man. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, brother, the pleasure is all mine. I am so honored to have you on my platform, man. Like, look, for those of y'all for those of y'all who don't know about Micheal Phillips, I'm just going to say this, he's a pastor now, okay? He's like Pastor Phillips now, okay? Which lets you know the direction I'm sort of going to go in. But he's a pastor, he's an author, he's an inspirational speaker. And today, we're going to talk about his story plus education reform, because I know that's something that he's very big on, and you all know I'm very big on that as well. So, man, before we get into that, as I told you before, he is an author. The first thing I want to ask you about is your book, man. Wrong lanes have right turns. Can you tell us a little bit about this book?
Yeah, man. This book was an incredible journey for me to even get to the space to write about all of the trauma and the difficulties that happen in my life, but unfortunately that are common in life. And I say in the book, that my story could have been told a million different times by a million different people, because struggle is common. But I think what is uncommon is that when we find ourselves going in the wrong direction, that we don't know that wrong lanes have right turns. And I was going in the wrong direction in my life, my trajectory and everything I was trying to do. Everything fell apart. And I had to make a choice at this moment in my life. And the choice wasn't like, something good. The choice was I had to turn myself in to federal offices. And I was on the run and I didn't want to turn myself in. But I literally was at a massive intersection on 995, headed down to Florida. I was in Richmond, Virginia. Between Richmond and or going like further south to like Virginia Beach area. Okay. And so I had to make a decision of what I was going to do. And my mother got on the phone, actually paged me. This is how far we're going back, on a two-way Nextel, not a pager, but a Nextel two-way. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, bro. Okay.
And she hit me up on that joint. It was like, she said, baby, whatever it is you're running from, we can face it together. Come on back home, turn yourself in. And so I told her I'd call her back and I was just going to keep going. And something in me was like, you need to go ahead and turn around. And I couldn't. I got in the car, I'm in this intersection, I'm in the wrong lane and I can't turn around. I got to keep going. And if I would have kept going, I'd have kept going. I'd have went straight down I-95. I'd have hit that freeway and kept on going. And everything in me just made a decision to turn around. And so I had to flag down cars. You know how that is. You're in the wrong lane. You try and get all the way over to the other side. Yeah. And everybody helped me get over. Everybody helped me get over. And I was able to make the right turn. And so that's where the inspiration for the title came from. Wrong lanes have right turns.
Hey, look, you know what? So now, even like knowing your like backstory, the fact that you even said that, how everything came together, makes me even like more curious to get this book. Okay, yeah. Seriously. And as I said before, man, testimony. Okay, the brother has one, and it's one, as you said before, like anybody, you feel like anybody could have told the story, but you're going to tell this story because it's your testimony. Sure, other people may have gone through a version of it or whatever, but at the end of the day, your testimony is your testimony. So, man, can I just drop like some like man, like points in and that's helpful.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so look here, ladies and gentlemen, man, look, my man's a baller, okay? I'm just gonna start with that, all right, man. Baller, okay? Like, I feel, man, baller. Man, I'm gonna take you to the hole. You might get dunked on, or you just might get filleted with, with the scoop. I don't know if I'm gonna use a backboard or not. It don't really matter. I'm gonna get these 2 points. Basketball is a sport, ladies and gentlemen, okay? So look, the man had D1 scholarship offers, okay? Man. But before then, you had a little bit of tragedy in your life. I want to say, was it 12 years old?
Yeah, 12 years old, man. Yeah, my dad passed away at 12. He was my world, my rock, my model, everything.
Yeah.
And, just suddenly died. Had a heart attack and died. And, at 12, you can't reconcile that to your mind why that would happen. And it just caused me to be real angry with the world. And then it also put me in harm's way because he was the rock that helped me to avoid the street. He kept me straight. He's my pops. And then when he left, everybody well-intended in my community trying to, help bring me up. But sometimes those are not always the individuals you want to help bring you up, right? And so, everybody had great respect for my pops around the way. And so they thought that they were doing him a service by teaching me the street and, teaching me manhood, quote unquote manhood.
Mm-hmm.
But what it really did was just, it taught me how to do things the wrong way. It taught me some street knowledge. But it wasn't always the best for me. But sports was the thing that helped me to really avoid going all the way in because everybody knew I was a baller and they wanted me to be successful. So I could dip my toe in the street a little bit, but most people would just push me back. And so I was able to go to school that way. But tragically, that was short-lived. Because I was in a horrific car accident that totally changed the outcome of what we thought was going to be.
Yeah. And I've read that, basically got caught up hanging out, and I'm just going to put the little backdrop on it now. For those of y'all who don't know, we talking about East Baltimore, correct?
Yeah, well, I'm a West Baltimore guy. Park Heights.
West Baltimore.
But when I started getting in trouble,
you was hanging out in East Baltimore.
I was over on the East side.
Okay. Which, I mean, seriously, like as I'm saying, to you as we talked before this, I'm here in Chicago, and I can relate a lot to your story, and I know dozens of people with the same type of story, who got just hanging out wrong side, shady crowd a little bit, a little sketchy or what have you. But, some of them do have, have your best interests at heart, but it's just the circumstances that you're caught up in. But, you were involved in a car accident.
Yeah. So I went home on a weekend visit. And this is the 90s, man. So this is, early 90s. And, to be playing D1 as a true freshman was major, was just major. And so I went home to celebrate because I was fired up. I had made the squad. I had made the start. I had already on the squad, but I had made the starting position, point guard. And I'm fired up, man, because we playing Big East basketball, and I'm ready to give it to them, right? And so we go home for a visit, and I go out with some friends, and we hang out. The odd thing of it was that nobody drank or smoked or nothing. Everybody was chill because they didn't want nothing to happen to me. Mm-hmm. And we decided that we were going to go to an amusement park, which was a few hours away, the next morning. But instead of going home, we said we're going to drive straight there. So we left the club spot, and now we drive to the amusement park. And it's like 4 a.m. And my man fell asleep behind the wheel. And I woke up in the hospital. My lower torso was caught underneath the dash of the car, and my upper torso went through the windshield of the car. The crash was so violent that the seatbelt literally shredded across my chest, snapped into. I had a huge mark and indentation on my chest for forever. It's gone now, but it was there forever. And my right leg was just totally done. Tibia, fibula, a few toes and a few bones in my foot, Achilles snap, kneecap as well, totally dislocated. They said I would never walk again, walk regular again. Mm-hmm. First they said I would never walk again. Then they said I would never walk regular again. And they told me I would never play again. And that was devastating to a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Devastating. Yeah, absolutely devastating. And I thought that since basketball was going to be my passport to the world, and it was the only way I thought I could make it, I thought all hope was lost. And I went into just a deep, deep depression and outlook, dark place of life, and made a decision at that moment, man, I'm going back, hit these streets, get this money, and I'll make it that way. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did.
Hey, well, look, let me just say, sometimes, and as I said before, these are like stories, like if you've grown up in any like major city, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be a major city, like if you're growing up in like a not too big city or whatever, these are situations that have, happened to people, throughout life. And as you're talking about D1, man, starting D1, 17 years old, Big East basketball in the 90s. For those of you who aren't even familiar with this concept, the Big East was the conference to be in. Like every Tuesday, Big East Monday, ESPN. Like, yeah, I can tell you, man, I love watching Syracuse. I love watching Georgetown. I love watching Pitt. Like these were like some of the big schools, So, to be, in this limelight and, ready to get this, fame or what have you, and to have it taken away, I can understand, it driving you down a dark place. But yeah, man, like, let's talk about what happened after that. Your mom's house gets raided by the feds,
Yeah. What's funny about that world, man, is that I've never seen a hustler with a 401k plan. I've never seen nobody on the street with benefits.
No.
Okay. It's short money. And I didn't understand that back then. And I thought that's the only way that I can figure out how to get up. And it was a falsehood. And it was really this false dichotomy that my culture offered to me. And I took it, right? That the only way to go up, okay, is to be in the underworld if you're not an entertainer or an athlete. Because education back then wasn't, as much as it was championed in my house, just as much as hard work was, it just wasn't modeled that I could have a life as a teacher or as an IT person. IT wasn't even a thing back then. Or, any type of career path, right? Those things really weren't in my environment like that. And so I just took to this opportunity, and it happened so fast and so quick. And I never thought that I would have moments of consciousness out on the streets. Like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. This is not me. I'm not. Listen, when you run into real street folk, you know the difference between what you're doing and what they're doing. Okay. And it was evident, dude, I do not belong out here like this. But here I was. And then it blew up. It became huge. And unfortunately back then, the epidemic of crack cocaine in our community was widespread. Yeah. And I showed up at the peak of that and just rode that wave. And now I'm looking up And all of a sudden, I'm on the radar of federal officers. Little old me, this little kid from Park Heights, and you got federal office, not local DEA, not narcs, not some UC from the Eastern District. No, feds, man. Because the entrepreneurial brain that I had and the entrepreneurial proclivities that I had, man, I didn't know that that's what that was. Right. I didn't know I had the ability and the potential to run my own business. I was just using those tools out there on the street, organizing everything. I got us organized. We had a pipeline in the stream. I don't want to get to all that, but we were organized and detailed. And that's what put us on the radar. And it wasn't even for drugs. It was for fraud. And that's why we were, because we had to launder the money. And so that's what put us on their radar. We were making too much money legally. Legally. Okay. And that's what put us on their radar. And so, make a long story short, really by happenstance, some kid running from local cops ran into one of our stash houses, and that's what brought the whole thing down. That's literally what because now the feds had to come in and make their case because their whole kind of everything got disrupted. And so all of a sudden now, just like that, I'm on the run. And, there's parts of it in the book I don't want to get away, but I'm on the run. And now I have to make a decision. And that's when my whole life changed. That's when everything in my life started turning around. When I made that decision to do a hard thing, was to face the music of the choices and my actions and go ahead and do what I got to do. And it's going to be what it's going to be. And I had to take those consequences because I actually did it.
Well, let me just say this. If anybody knows work with Ty Brownlow, I know y'all probably sitting there like, well, man, why are you telling such a sad, dark story? Okay. I mean, look, sometimes we got to go through it to get to the other side. So, we're going through our tunnel right now, but I'm just going to speed it up a little bit if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
Man,
Absolutely.
Basically, as, Mr. Phillips was saying, got caught up in an act, things snowballed so quickly, became turbulent, got put into a max federal prison, not the county jail. We talking about max, you know what I'm saying? And he was facing some time, y'all, but oddly enough, which is sort of ironic, on this one particular Sunday, life turned around for him, He got a call, man, next thing you know, he's on a van, he's going to see, a judge, I believe it was, and next thing you know, man, the judge gave you an ultimatum. Can you talk about that?
He did. I was facing 30 years in jail on a RICO charge. And I was in a 23/7 penitentiary. I could only come out my cell an hour a day in total isolation. And I thought my destiny, man, was going to be written on those concrete floors and cinder block walls. But on a Sunday, they came and they put me in a paddy wagon and sent me to the federal judge's chambers, which is weird because if you have any dealings with criminal justice system, that don't happen.
No.
And I walk into his chambers and it's the prosecutor, it's my attorney, and it's the judge. The judge just sits down in front of me and he says, son, you have a couple of options. You can either go to jail or go to school. And I looked around and was like, it was funny about it, man. I can still see the room today. I could see everything on his desk. I could see the picture he had on his wall. I could tell you the clothes they had on because that's how slow time had wind down for me in that moment. Mm-hmm. And I looked around and I said, shoot, I want to go to school. Like, it didn't take me no time to answer. It's just that it's something in this moment, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then he explained to me that this gentleman, his name was Bill Owens, back in the day, he had this program to help adjudicated youth go to college instead of to go to prison. And I had already had offers from the school that they wanted to send me to. And I just didn't want to go there. but that's the one they picked for me to go to because that's the school he was from and he had the program. And so they decided to ship me off to Oral Roberts University. And that was the beginning of the turning of my life to be changed forever because, you know, I was facing real time. And the other blessing behind it was I was never actually charged. So I have no record because I was never actually charged. And I don't know why the prosecutor, for the life of me today, I have no idea other than providence of why the prosecutor decided to go for this, but he did. And, you know, I was just by that time I was 18 years old. And 18 years old gets locked up every day in this country. Yes. Black 18-year-olds get locked up every day in this country. But for some reason, it changed for me. And it's still today kind of hard to articulate what that moment was like and how I still feel about it. But I had to write about it and I had to tell the story. And this was the right moment to do it.
Wrong lanes have right turns, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all not hit, man. Maybe y'all not really hearing what we saying to y'all right now. You know, I mean, I know we started off dark, but man, as I said, this is Word with Ty Brownlow. It may start off a certain way, but you know how this is going to end up. We all about the positive around here, okay? Yeah. And let me just say, you know, like, man, look. To have all that happen, to go through everything you know, went through, and then to have that moment, as you said, you vividly remember like how everything looked, you know, even the smell and all that good, you know, all that stuff, man, to break it down, to know that this is a life-defining moment for yourself, you know, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. But now let me ask you though, you know, going through everything that you've gone through, and I know, you know, as I said, one of the things I said, you are a pastor and an inspirational speaker. Man, it's a lot of Black young men out here who feel as if they don't have a future. And as we talked before, you know, everything now, you know, sort of feels like it's sped up because of the pandemic, and, you know, kids were, you know, away from school, learning remote. Now they're back in school. Now there's so many things going on, you know, and we're going to talk about education reform in a minute. But as we talked about, you know, before, we're like in the fourth industrial revolution. Everything's damn near digital, almost in a sense. All right. That's right. And man, I'm just going to say it to say it. Black kids are being left out for the most part. There are some who, you know, have the, you know, means or so to keep up, but it's not a lot, you know. What words of encouragement can you share with them as far as inspiration, man? Like,
well, first and foremost, I know how you feel. I was you. I sat where you sat. I walked where you walked. And I know what it feels like not to have the hope of the life you want to have and aspire to have. And I am living proof here to tell you that you can absolutely have it. The future is not a destination. It is a decision. And you have to decide that regardless of the difficulties, detours, the detractors, the individuals that don't believe in you or your dream, somebody does. And it starts with you. And it's not just some simple believe in yourself. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have to decide that they're wrong about their expectations for your life. That the world is wrong. That they made the wrong bet when they bet against you. And whoever counted you out failed math. They can't count. You can totally make it, because I did, and I know you can.
Hey, man, brother. First and foremost, look, he just told y'all the future is not a destination, it's a decision. So life's full of life's full of choices, life's full of decisions. Either you can become what people want for you to become, which is like in the bad or whatever, expectations, low expectations they put on you, or you can flip it around, man. Bet on yourself, as I always say. Bet on yourself.
That's right.
In the words of Derrick Rose, former Chicago Bull MVP, why not me? Why not me? Why not me succeeding and getting up out of here? I know you said this about everybody else, and this, that, and other, that I can't do this, that I can't do that. Why not me? So I feel that, man. I feel that, So yeah. I just want to thank you for sharing, your testimony with us, man. But we finna flip it over here into something that I'm very passionate about. And I've heard you speak on this a couple of times, brother. I told you, I done seen the TED Talks, okay? So look, we've been talking about this educational reform, okay? But before we get into that, I know you're the founder of a program called Life Prep. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, man. Life Prep was really designed to provide the educational environments for Black and Brown students in low-income communities. And the first premise of Life Prep is that learning happens everywhere, okay? Everywhere, right? It happens at home, it happens in your community, and it certainly happens in school. And so we want to touch all of those areas for the educational experiences of children. And so that's why I started Life Prep and designed it. And prayerfully, it is my hope, man, that I begin to scale some of these things around the country. Right now, it's just in program phase, but hopefully at some point, it'll be concrete, actual physical schools with the whole concept dual generationally, not just touching the child, but also affecting the parent as well and the community also, because our community, okay, is built different. We're built different. And I think schools can be used as anchor institutions rather than static buildings that put your child in there for time served and never really give them anything. They should be more dynamic than that. In other words, when your child goes to school, there should be some things and tools there for you as well. There should be some tools there for the community, whether it is extended learning opportunities, whether it is financial literacy programs, whether it is job building opportunities, and then some tangible things too. So in one of our first models, we built something simple, a laundromat inside the school building, because we discovered that the number one reason for chronic absenteeism is dirty uniforms. So imagine if you're a single mom, okay, or if you're just a mom, all right, single or otherwise, and you got 3 or 4 kids, all right, and particularly if you live in the city, and if you don't have a washer and dryer in your home, and you have to go down the corner to the laundromat, and you got to take the 2-year-old and the 4-year-old and the 6-year-old, and then put any type of issues in there with any of the kids that could be even more of a constraint, whether it's a physical disability or cognitive or whatever it might be. And you have to wrestle and jostle with all of that. That's hard. So you're going to miss a few laundry days, man. But what if you had a community that said, we got you. You can do that here. We got you. When you drop little man off, when you drop baby girl off, you come in and do your laundry. Simple stuff. Trying to listen to people and their difficulties and their challenges and try to just meet them where they are and provide support around that is really the premise. But also to have the exceptional pedagogy inside the school with culturally competent curriculum, so that kids are not only getting the basic tenets and tools that they need to be educated, but they're also having that done within the framework of content that they can get because it's their culture. They understand it. And so that's the whole premise of life. I could go on and on about it because you can tell I'm excited about it. But
Damn,
that's
brother,
the premise of life prep.
Yeah, yo, look, my wheels are turning already, man. But that's a whole nother show, hey, I love that. I love that because you're really breaking down like things to the essence, and something so simple. And I know many people would be like, well, laundry. But yeah, like if you really think about it now, a lot of us live in places like, especially apartments where the laundry, either A, you got to go downstairs to do the laundry. Those machines are broken. You don't have like a washing machine or dryer in the home. Man, the laundromat may be half a mile or a mile away, sometimes further. You may have to get on the bus or take a Uber or whatever, but that's scraping up money that, you're already living sort of under the, fence anyway, So whatever, like, little money or resources that you have, you got to scrape all that together. You got to get soap. And as you said, we're not even talking about the kids. Okay. Right. We're just talking about the whole aspect of doing laundry. Okay. So there's going to be like some, you know what, man, we can't go this week. I know you don't have any clean, uniform clothes or whatever, but I still want you to go to school. Man, look, just like I know, kids ain't going for that.
Oh.
Because we know what it's going to be when you get to the school.
Exactly.
And, look, I'm going to keep it even real with you, man. As a person, as an educator, I've seen other educators be worse than some of the like youth, when they're talking about some of these kids. And it sort of makes you wonder, like, okay, like, what's really going on here? Like, are we really here to like chastise, or are we really here to like, man, teach and learn? You know what I'm saying? And when I say teach and learn, yes, my philosophy is it's really not about me teaching these kids. It's about me learning from these kids.
Yeah, I like that.
Because...
No, I love it.
About the curriculum, but anyway, it's really about learning from the kids.
Exactly.
So let me just ask, because I know you touched on it a little bit, with the program, but man, how can an education system revamp itself, towards the youth of today to get kids like to learn on the level they really need to learn on?
Yeah, well, I think it's a couple of ways, man. First of all, we have to be honest about what we have. The education system that we have is actually not broken. It's designed to do what it's doing. It's built one size fits all. This type of warehouse manufacturer shootout widget sort of thing. It's the way it was built, and it was also built, from a cast model. And so it's designed to spit out individuals that work for someone. It is not designed to educate personally. And so we have to be honest about that. And if we're not going to be honest about that, then we're going to have a really difficult time revamping it or reimagining it. Because we keep producing the same discordant outcomes and then complain about the outcomes like we got to do something different. So we throw money at it. We throw laws at it. We throw all these things at it. But it's like trying to fix a dying tree. You have to uproot it and plant again. And so we're in the 21st century, but we have an industrial model. No one's going to work in the factory anymore. Okay. Even when you look at not every school, but in most schools, they still sit in rows. They still do the same repetitive type of pedagogy, or I don't want to get too far in the weeds or step on nobody's toes, but they stand here, don't move. Okay. If you're a little kid, if you're a boy, you ain't sitting still. Okay. you're a boy. We learned it. Boys learn differently than girls. So you got all that active energy. You're gonna be moving around. You're gonna be You have to build environments that's conducive for that. From the early stages up on, right? And so that's how we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to first be honest about what we have, and then we need to develop the best practices of what's working by personalizing education and then pluralizing it too, right? So what I mean by pluralizing it, there's no one way to school. There are all of these different options that we have available to us. COVID helped us to understand that because when the rubber met the road and kids wanted to go back to school, people with resources brought in their own teachers, paid them, and produced pods. Okay, people that didn't have resources had to do it online, even though they didn't have the tools necessary digitally to take advantage of that, and they didn't have a lot of support and help. So, okay, let's take what we have and see where we are and learn that we can pluralize our education system to make it fit for what people need right where they are. And they should have the choice to do so. Okay, it's their money. It's called per pupil spending for a reason. It's your dollars.
Right. True.
Yeah. True. Yeah. It's your money. It's your money. You should have a choice as to how it's getting spent on your child. And so, anywho, we have to first start with honesty, and that goes from the top down. Everybody that's involved in education needs to have this sort of moment of clarity of what we have built. And then from that place of honesty, choose how we're going to redo it and how we're going to make it better. Eloquent,
distinguished. Okay. No, I love it. I love it because you speak.
It took me a long time to lose my street accent, dog. It took
Well, hey, you know what? That's about the transformation. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Look here. We're putting that college work to use. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
But no, everything you're talking about, look, as you said, like we're in the 21st century and we're still using an industrial model, like the first industrial model to like educate, even in how, kids are, look, you line them up. You sit them down. They're sitting in rows, a person's at the board, blah, 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 blah. Write this down. Like, you're just like, man, it's almost like regurgitate, you know what I'm saying? Like, learn it and spit it back to me. That's not really learning. You're just repeating whatever it is I said. Like,
and think about how that programs you for prison life. It's the same thing. Stand here. Don't move. State your number. State your name. It's the same.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Look here, man. I'm gonna say this: personal development shouldn't just be for staff. It should be for kids. Okay, like the kids' personal development of how they're going to like get out here in the world and actually function and be the best that they can be. Man, like I know school can't fix everything, but it can get you started along the way to like make something of yourself, even when everything else outside of school may not be in your favor.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the great equalizer. It's supposed to be the thing that helps to bring this equity to life, because we're all getting educated, right? But school doesn't always provide that. But you said something that was powerful and important. Kids have agency, man. You have agency, and it goes back to that decision making that I was talking about earlier. You have the power to determine, what you want to go and do and how you want to do it. And there are other ways. If you're at a school that's not providing you with the tools, the 21st century has given you everything you need at your fingertips to go and access information. And so you should definitely take advantage of that. If you can figure out TikTok, because I'm still trying to figure it out, you
Man,
can go and listen. You can go figure out anything you want to go and figure out.
Okay. Well, no, man, I love it, man. I love it. Look, look, we can sit here and talk all night. Like, I just
I
love
know.
like everything that you stand for. As I said, man, I've been watching TED Talks. I've been watching like a lot of your speaking functions and the things that you speak about, especially when it comes to like educational reform. Man, I am wholeheartedly with you. I feel like it's me sitting up there talking because everything you're saying, I've said and been saying for the longest, but just feel as if I'm shut out or whatever on the side because they're like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just whatever,
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay. So I thank God for starting a platform like this where I can get like minds on the issue and man,
Yes.
just hear it from the other side, of, the table, fence, whatever, But if people want to get this book that you have,
Yeah.
okay, once again, wrong lanes have right turns. How can people get the book and how can people get in contact with you, via social media or email, website, what have you?
Absolutely. Go to michealphillips.info. All the info on the book is going to be there. You can get the book when it comes out. Unfortunately, it doesn't come out to January 25th. However, you can pre-order it right now. Everywhere books are sold: Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, Target, Amazon, yada yada yada. And it's available on all those places. Also, very soon, Micheal Phillips' book will be up and running, and you'll be able to go right there and get it. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook at Mike Phillips Official, on Twitter at Mike Phillips 74 Official, and love to connect with all of you.
Well, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna be adding you to my Facebook and my Instagram, and yes,
Yeah.
pre-order, pre-order, pre-order. Okay, look, it's a must read, especially for those of us who work with like young men, and I mean from high school to middle school, even to grade school. Man, order the book, because one thing that I know for sure, everybody always talks about, well, I don't think like the little kids should be, getting all these things, here, all these adult like type situations. But I'm like, do you see what they're watching on television? Do you hear the conversations that they're having when we're not around? I've walked up on kids having conversations and I thought it was like one of my homeboys or whatever. Like, oh,
Right.
wait a minute, this y'all? Oh man, gone, like for real. So,
Right.
I agree. Man, brother, get this book, y'all. Get this book. Support this man. All right,
That's
support him. But I'm a little salty because I come to the last question of the show, but this is the question my show is known for. Because like I said, man, I could sit here and build with you for a very long time, but unfortunately, time constraints or whatever. But man, Mr. Micheal Phillips, Pastor Micheal Phillips. All right, go. What is the one word that best describes you and why?
Man, I love that question, and it's the feelings mutual. I can sit here all night and talk to you. I feel like I'm talking to a brother. I feel like I'm just talking to somebody that I've been knowing forever. I would say the one word that describes me, that best describes me and why, is inspirational. And the reason I choose that word is it's really my core. Ever since I was a little kid, all I ever wanted to do was help people.
Mm-hmm.
I was just built that way. And even making the wrong decisions I made in my life, I thought I was trying to help people. As crazy as that may sound, my motivation was not money. It was really to help others create something better. And that's the meaning of inspiration, to help others take something and create with it. And it lasts much longer than motivation. Motivation is a cup of coffee. It's going to be gone in a little bit. But inspiration is an internal thing. And I think I was designed to help turn on people's internal passion, ignite their purpose, and help them fulfill and maximize their potential.
Okay, so look, I'm just gonna say destiny, you know. And look, I mean, you just said design, man. Like you were made for this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how we got here may not be the prettiest or what have you, but you're destined to be here, and you're destined to be talking about the things that you're talking about, because as you said, it's always been about the help, you know, even when it's been in the wrong or what have you, you still been there to help, you know, so it's always been in you, and from the beginning, and now we're here, and look here, brother,
yeah.
It's not too often that I say this, man, but man, dude, like Mike Phillips is the bomb.com, ladies and gentlemen. Rolling with the brother. All right, man, look, it's not often I get up here, you know, saying the old school words like that, but y'all know when I pull out the old school words, I'm feeling a certain type of way, you know what I'm saying? But no, man, look, brother, I love your mission. I love everything you about, man. Like I said, man, look, for those of y'all who don't know, I'm gonna tell you right now, go look at his TED, I believe it's a TED Talks.
Yeah, TEDx Talk. The TEDx Talk was when kids learn on broken chairs. Yeah.
Kids learn on broken chairs. I'm telling you, powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. And for all my educators, especially the brothers that I know, y'all need to go watch that, okay? Because it's talking a lot about what we would normally talk about in those conversations that we would get yelled at for having, because we were only trying to build what others are trying to destroy. But we ain't gonna go into that. That's a whole nother show. Whole nother show. But man, brother, look, you family here, okay? So the doors are open. All right. I mean, I know men, but these doors are open. Anytime you want to come back here, anything you got going on, man, please come back. Please share. I would love to have you on my platform again. I just think everything that you're about is phenomenal. And man, that's that.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me on. And listen, when I come to Chicago, I know they're carving that out as part of my book tour. So we got to get up when I come up there, man.
Man, look here. I will get in contact with your people and have my information sent over to you, sir. All right. How about that? Okay. See,
that's what's up.
That's how networking works, people. That's how it works. That's how it works. But no, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Word with Ty Brownlow. I've been your host, Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. Follow me, all social media platforms at Word with Ty Brownlow. Or you can go to my website, tybrownlow.com. Y'all getting this gospel, okay? We're going to call it an interview, but it's really gospel, okay? Y'all going to get this gospel plus other great interviews as well. Man, brother, Micheal Phillips, thank you for being on, man. We out, y'all. Peace.